It is a pleasure and an honor to introduce our next speaker as well. We faced some tough days in New Hampshire this last session. You know, it's not easy. It's not easy being in the minority, and it's not easy when we only have one vote majority in the Senate. We've had tremendous leadership, strong, principled Republican leadership from our majority in the Senate. I hope that you will join me in welcoming Senate President Chuck Morse.
First of all, JP, thanks for stepping aside, because this is the first day that's been over 50 degrees on a weekend in the nursery business. So this speech will be short also, but for the right reasons. This party's alive and kicking. I can tell you the Senate held 2 fundraisers 2 weeks ago, both very successful, and Republicans came out in droves to support the party. That's what we want. And Jennifer, let me tell you, having worked with you for the last 6 months, it's an honor, and your devoted leadership is appreciated in this party. Thank you. And I want to thank the state party and the executive committee and the staff for their dedication and commitment and hard work in support of our party and our principles. I'm excited to be here with you today, just a short walk from the State House, to kick off what I know will be a successful campaign season for New Hampshire Republicans. With your help, there is no doubt in my mind that come November, Republicans will once again control under that golden dome. Over the last 2 years, Governor Hassan and the Democrats in the legislature have worked to increase the size of government and burden our job creators with new taxes and new regulation. But during that legislative session, the Republican Senate has served as a legislative firewall against the big government tax and spending policies of conquered Democrats. The 13 Republicans you helped elect to be the state Senate have stood up for the taxpayers of New Hampshire and kept the New Hampshire advantage. When Governor Hassan proposed a budget that would have increased state spending by 10%, the Republican-led Senate said no. Instead, we kept spending in check and wrote a budget with no new taxes and no new fees. When House Democrats wanted to inflate revenues to justify new programs, the Republican-led Senate said no. Instead, we insisted on revenues that over the first 10 months of the year have proven to be remarkably accurate by any standard. And when the governor and the House moved to increase taxes on our state businesses, the Republican Senate said no. Instead, we passed legislation to extend critical tax credit programs like the Research and Development Tax Credit in order to we wanted new opportunities in New Hampshire. We wanted new job growth. Over the last 4 years, the state Senate has led the way in making New Hampshire a more business-friendly state. We've worked hard to attract new job creators and make it easier to start and operate a small business. We've fought to bring down the cost of energy and healthcare, 2 of the biggest areas of concern from our state employers. And I am proud to say our reforms are working. Consider this, in part because of the Republican leadership in the State House, more than 8,600 of our friends and neighbors now have found work, and New Hampshire over the last 4 years has seen that our unemployment rate has dropped down to 4%. But there is more work to be done, and conquered Democrats are slowing the progress. Recently, 2 of the nation's credit bureaus issued warnings on our state finances, taking us to task for underfunded pension system, an inadequate rainy day fund, and a questionable tax on our state hospitals. In response, while Democrats waffled, Republicans took the lead. In 2011, Republicans enacted sweeping, long overdue reforms to our retirement system to improve the retirement system and reduce costs for our municipal taxpayers. Last year, Republicans began the fight to move the modest $15 million into the surplus from the prior budget to the state's rainy day fund. And now, Republicans are working to reduce and phase out the hospital tax in order to resolve a costly lawsuit and create a more responsible method of paying for our safety net programs. Unfortunately, Democrats in Concord continue to undermine, oppose, and block these common sense reforms at every turn. And these are just the most recent examples. Republican efforts to reform the state's welfare rules and the diversion of highway funds, strengthen voter ID laws, and improve oversight of union contracts have all met resistance from the Democratically led House and Governor Hassan. There is no doubt it's time for change in Concord. To grow our economy, strengthen our budget, and protect our taxpayers, we must come together and send principled Republican majorities to Concord. In the months ahead, I look forward to working with all of you to do just that by sharing our winning message of personal responsibility, low spending, and small government with the voters of New Hampshire. Then come November, with an increased Senate majority, a Republican Speaker in the House, and a businessman in the state's corner office, I look forward to standing with all of you to ensure New Hampshire remains the conservative, low-tax, fiscally responsible state that we all know and love. Thank you very much.
Crop tape.